Texas A&M, number 25 team in the country, allegedly. Maybe they're 25B, sharing that spot with UNLV, according to the AP voters. They host number 9, Missouri, coming to town. The Aggies, as of recording, 2-point favorites. This is the 11 a.m. game on ABC, a sneaky good SEC schedule on ABC on Saturday. Missouri's off a bye week. Texas A&M is off of the Tums Classic against Arkansas, in which we get heartburn every single year. I'm not sad to be leaving the Death Star. Missouri, I feel like, should be the favorite in that they are a top 10 team, and they certainly seem to be a little bit more put together, a little bit further down the program road than Texas A&M is. What say you?
Yeah, it's still year one for Mike Elko, so obviously things are getting started. And really, week to week, I feel like the Aggies have looked better and better against, granted, bad competition. And so we don't always see the results of that on the field. But you're starting to see things come together for the Aggies. You saw the defensive front come together against Arkansas, finally get in the backfield. Nick Scorton having a heck of a day as well. And when you look at this defense and you look at the progression of this defense, it seems like they've had problems and then slowly been fixing them. And one of the matchups that I've seen a lot of people talk about for this Missouri A&M game is going to be that big play over the top type of thing. Not only has Missouri kind of had some struggles early with some of this, Brady Cook hasn't really come out as strong as he was last season. I think this is also going to be the next thing that A&M tries to fix. Early in the year, it was kind of the run game, and we talked about how they didn't really perform well in the run game against teams like Notre Dame, and even in that second game as well. Then they kind of got it figured out against Florida, kind of shored some of that up against the Gators, and it's been better since. And I think this big play, kind of over-the-top secondary, is that next shoe to drop for the Aggie defense, especially because, they've gotten burned by it for a couple weeks in a row. So if that's not their number one focus in practice, I don't know what the heck else is. Yeah, Mizzou's coming off of a bye week. They've had some issues with the running quarterback so far. For me, I'm going to have to see them actually defend the running quarterback before I'm going to believe that they're going to have any real success against Marcel Reed. Yeah, the formula's been there for other teams, but Castellanos and Pavia both kind of gave him issues being able to run and make stuff happen at their feet. Marcel Reed needs to take that next step in the pass game, but if he can, and we've been waiting for him to kind of take that step, we've been waiting for him to take that step against teams like, Bowling Green, and then we asked for it against a team like Arkansas. Now, again, Aggie fans asking for it against a team in Missouri where he needs to take that step forward. I think the friendly confines of Kyle Field should help him. And I think that this will end up going A&M's way. I am picking the Aggies to win this one and cover the -2. I think it'll be a low-scoring, ugly game, but I do think that defense is going to give Missouri a lot of problems and kind of force things to kind of clamp down, get ugly, and play a little bit of a running time of possession style game.
Rock fight is certainly the format that suits Texas A&M so far this season. Trey, you've got questions on both sides of the ball in this matchup. For Marcel Reed, big plays have been an issue. In fact, I sent you guys a tweet earlier this week from Carter Carroll's on Twitter. Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed is now 3 of 17 on passes beyond 20-plus yards from the line of scrimmage per PFF. He went 0 of 5 on those throws versus Arkansas. He's also 3 of 15 this season on passes when throwing outside the numbers beyond 10-plus yards from the line of scrimmage. So the Aggies, if they're going to get a chunk play, it's necessitated a broken tackle, like we saw with the passing touchdown to Noah Thomas this past week, a big run, something like that where the defense has more of a lapse than the offense making a play. On the other side, though, Missouri's road resume hasn't exactly impressed you.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you guys on Marcel Reed. If he can hit those downfield passing plays, that unlocks another key to this Texas A&M offense that could make it really difficult to stop for pretty much everybody else on their schedule, because it's hard to stop a running quarterback that can also throw downfield. I've got to see that, so I believe it. I'm going to take Mizzou +2, but guys, I think this is a referendum game on the legitimacy of Mizzou's program under Eli Drinkwitz. I love Eli Drinkwitz as a person. I think he's a great coach. I think he is, a great person as well. I think his resume is built on a little bit of a house of cards at this point. It's really built on blowing out Tennessee at home last year in a situation where Tennessee was kind of out of playoff contention and done for the year, and Joe Milton wasn't the best fit for that offense. We can go on and on about Tennessee last year. and beating a depleted Ohio State team in the Cotton Bowl. Those are kind of the two things that you point at, and making bowl games when he wasn't necessarily supposed to. He was king of going 6-6 for a couple years at the beginning there. But I dove into his road resume especially. He's 6-12 on the road in his tenure. He has just 2 wins in his years as Mizzou's coach that came over teams that ended the season with a winning record. That was South Carolina in 22 and Kentucky last year. Average wins of the teams he's beaten on the road are 4.29. The average win percentage is 360. So a lot to be desired on the road. He also wins a lot of close games, 6-0 in 1-score games in 2023 and 24 so far. All 6 of those came at home, or except for one that was at a neutral site in St. Louis against Memphis last year. So he's kind of got to prove it on the road. This is a big opportunity for him to prove and take another step forward as a program. If they fail, they could find themselves in a really sticky spot, because I think 10-2 on their resume with the schedule that they have might get left out in the cold come playoff time. I think there's going to be a lot of teams in that 10-2 range, and they could find themselves on the wrong side of the bubble if they lose this game to Texas A&M.
It's interesting. I think part of that has been maybe the growing pains that Missouri has gone through. I mean, this was a program that was down and out. We've talked a lot about, I mean, this was a historically bad defense just a couple of years ago. North Texas, I think, dethroned them as one of the worst defenses in modern college football history against the run last year. But just a couple of years ago, before Blake Baker kind of put his healing hands on that program, they couldn't stop anything. They were giving up a first down every single run. I think part of that is learning how to win. The other part of it that makes me nervous about picking A&M to win this is it's year 1 of Mike Elko. I think if this is year 2, year 3, he's built up the program the way he wants to build it. Kyle Field has become a fortress once again for the Aggies. I think one Mizzou beat writer was on the Cover 3 podcast today. I think he said that the Aggies are 26-22 against Power 4, Power 5 teams since joining the SEC. I could be butchering that stat, but guys, we were there through the Kevin Sumlin days. We know that Kyle Field was not a place that was impossible to win against some really bad Texas A&M teams, and that's unfortunate. On the other hand, though, the last time a quarterback poked the bear, that is Kyle Field. That was Josh Rosen, 2017?
2016.
2016. Said that it wasn't going to be loud, that practice was louder. Fans chanted 50,000 at him all game long. And oh, by the way, right after Josh Rosen told the Aggie faithful, hey, get a little bit louder, he threw an interception that ended up sealing that game, right? So Brady Cook has made headlines by saying, yeah, practice is louder, it won't be a problem. We'll see how that goes for the Tigers on Saturday. My 3 questions in this game, and I am going to take Mizzou plus the 2 points. Can Texas A&M's secondary keep up with Missouri's wide receivers? We know that they have a plethora of wide receivers beyond just Luther Burden, who I think is going to be a problem. We'll see if Will Lee follows him or how Texas A&M decides to match up in the secondary. Can Brady Cook survive the A&M pass rush? Cook is not a mobile quarterback. He's not a Talon Green-esque who's able to roll away from pressure. And even though that didn't really help Talon Green this past week, it did allow him to buy some more time, get the ball away. And instead of having 6, 7, 8 sacks, I think the Aggies had 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. Brady Cook can't move like that. And so if this Missouri offensive line cannot keep the pocket clean, the Aggies might not only win this game, they might run away with it if Brady can't deliver that ball down the field. Finally, can Texas A&M hit 2 or 3 of those big plays? Because for Missouri, their offense isn't just predicated on the pass, it's on the ground as well. Nate Noel can take the air out of drives. He can gash you in big chunk plays. That's been a struggle for the Texas A&M defense at times this season. The Aggies are going to have to take that momentum offensively at some point. So far, their defense has been able to get that going for them in these first couple of games. The offense is going to have to make a big play, in my opinion, if they're going to hang in this one and win it. It's a very winnable game for Texas A&M. I truly think this is a pick'em style game. I think the line reflects that. Again, I'm going to go with Eli Drinkowitz and the team that's a couple more years developed down that line this time. I think if you play this game next year in Kyle Field, it might be a different story. It might be Texas taking Texas A&M.
Gracious him! How about that?